possible Representative Lauren Boebert might be going to court soon. So now this is according to a report in Newsline. David Wheeler, he is the president of the American Muckrakers PAC, is preparing to file a lawsuit against Congresswoman Boebert for defamation. Okay, so now let me give you context here, because there's a lot of twists and turns in the story, and there's parts where Boebert might be right, and there's also parts where Wheeler is right. So again, this is sort of a let him fight situation, but let's get into it. Now, this would be the second suit by Wheeler against Lauren Boebert. So what's the story here? So now the first lawsuit happened in North Carolina State Court. So Wheeler tried to sue Lauren Boebert for, again, the same thing, defamation. Now the judge in that case, they're like, why are you suing here? We don't have any jurisdiction. If you want to actually do a lawsuit, you should probably do one in Colorado. Okay, and then look, he said, okay, that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go and file it in Colorado, but he says I'm gonna do it in federal court instead of state court. Okay, so now Wheeler said that he is looking. The reason, I guess, that he's going after Boebert for defamation. Well, there's a couple of different reasons. Again, he believes that some of the statements made by Boebert against him were false and defamatory, but also he's got a political reason. He said he's looking to depose Boebert on video about her involvement in January 6th, as well as numerous other matters that he says are related to the case. And I've got a quote from him later about that, specifically about his reasoning, but says, it certainly would be in the public interest to be able to see that videotape. So look, deposing Lauren Boebert over her actions on January 6th. So look, if you can remember, and let me give you the details on that, leading up to January 6th, Boebert, like a lot of right-wingers, pushed disinformation, the big lie, on social media. A lot of that fed into this, this narrative like, Biden stole the election, we got to take it back, we got to challenge them and prevent the certification of the election. Only Mike Pence can save us. And of course, that narrative led to thousands of pro-Trump protesters going to the Capitol, some of them demonstrating or picketing illegally, and were, arrested and removed as a result of that, charged as a result of that. And some of them breaking into the Capitol and potentially trying to murder the vice president. So now for Boebert, on the day of the riot, she, of course, voted against the certification of the election. Not a surprise there. She was part of the insurrection caucus, but so were a lot of Republicans, to be fair. And also had tweeted interesting things like, today is 1776. Now, they also noted that she had given a tour of the house previously, but I don't think that really was like, oh, we're casing the joint. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I don't have any evidence to show that, to prove that. Now, she also did tweet about the speaker being removed, but did not tweet about Nancy Pelosi's exact location, like there were a lot of reports that she had done. So look, all over social media, there was that talking point. She tweeted where the speaker. I believe even I had fallen for that. Hey, I'm not perfect, but it turns out that she wasn't actually tweeting about the speaker's location as like, go get him. Just like, oh, this is what happened. It got, she got removed from the chambers and that's it. Okay, sure. But look, aside from that, she did post a lot of yikesy stuff and stuff that was definitely, I think, part of inciting people into going to the Capitol. So again, that's that social media usage. It's a bit yikesy. But Now, the defamation case, this doesn't have anything to do with January 6th. So why does he want to bring her to talk about January 6th when this is a defamation case? It seems, again, weirdly political. And again, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's not to say that I'm on the side of Lauren Boebert here, but I'm trying to be as accurate as I can. I'm trying to give you a lot of the nuance and facts in this, because this is, again, is a very weirdo, interesting, nuanced case. Okay, so now Boebert, if you can remember, she was recently, she almost lost her re-election chance. So barely squeaked by, barely. Now, during that campaign, American Muckrakers PAC had released some information about her that was rather sketchy. So now, look, American Muckrakers PAC before had been very successful, actually, in putting out information that tanked the re-election campaign of Madison Cawthorn.
Tallywhacker.
So, look, they released some information that was, I mean, they had literal video of Madison Cawthorn engaging in some, to conservatives, questionable behavior. I didn't think the behavior was questionable at all. It showed some possible gay stuff going on. I'm a progressive. You want to do gay stuff? Awesome, based. I love it. go do gay stuff. Hey, this is America, right?
We have to keep our country gay.
But right-wingers didn't like that. And so that's the kind of stuff. It also makes American Muckrakers PAC look a little dirty because, oh, look at that. Oh, you know, gay people. Oh, you know, Madison Cawthorn being gay. Ooh. So, yeah, I guess you could say that I'm kind of predisposed to think they're kind of dirty, this PAC and the ads that they're doing. Nonetheless, I mean, politics, I've said before, is dirty. Is dirty. But anyway, now, during Boebert's campaign, American Muckrakers PAC, after getting rid of Madison Cawthorn, or helping to do that, well, they went after Boebert, and they published some claims about her, that some of which were dubious. And again, I'm being factual, I'm keeping it real, not a fan of Boebert. If you've ever seen any of my other Boebert videos, whew. Now, in fact, American Muckrakers PAC co-founder David Wheeler acknowledged to CNN after they had done extensive fact check of the claims made by American Muckrakers PAC. And he's like, okay, we were sloppy. We had published inaccuracies about Boebert on our website. Now, CNN reporting found that the Super PAC had made at least 5 different false statements about Boebert, along with a series of uncorroborated assertions that Boebert says are false, and that CNN could neither immediately confirm nor immediately debunk. So, look, again, I want to be clear here. I have no problem with going after Lauren Boebert. Just make sure you go after her on things that she actually did. If you're going to take a shot at the right wing, which I do all the time, you better come with some sort of receipts. That's all I'm saying. Or else you're going to discredit yourself. And that's pretty much what happened with American Muckrakers PAC. In fact, Wheeler had conceded that the Super PAC was wrong when it insisted that a photo of another woman posing on a bed is a photo of Boebert. I remember looking at that photo and saying, I don't see it. Now, it was also wrong when it claimed that Boebert initially failed to disclose a campaign contribution from Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. It was also wrong to suggest that Cruz had made a big contribution to Boebert's campaign immediately after she started running in her first primary, and was wrong about the date of a Boebert vehicle accident, and was wrong when it published a claim that Boebert had had an abortion in the fall of 2004, at most 6 months before she gave birth to a son in March of 2005. So the dates, of course, don't exactly line up on that. So, look, again, not a fan of Lauren Boebert. I think she's a dangerous person. I think she represents some of the worst of America. But facts are facts. And the assertions that were made against her were not proven, did not have any evidence to back them up. This PAC did not have this evidence. Again, unlike the case with Cawthorn, where they presented video. So it's kind of hard. I guess I suppose you could do it. But it's generally hard to do convincing video like we had seen with Madison Cawthorn. Okay. So now, Boebert in her campaign, they, of course, hit back and then said, well, you were defaming us with this obviously untrue information, so we're going to sue you. So now, here's where it gets interesting, even more interesting, I should say. Boebert's team never followed through with that lawsuit. Not at all. So she didn't sue, and then Wheeler and the PAC sued again. So now, in North Carolina, in that defamation suit, this is the first lawsuit, Wheeler said that donations, and this is the reason that he filed the suit, donations to Muckrakers PAC went into free fall. And his own income, which came solely from Muckrakers, took a hit. Well, that's because you put unverified information out there against a political opponent in an effort to tank her campaign. So if you do that, make these allegations and you don't back up evidence, then that makes you dishonest. A liar, perhaps. So people will lose trust in your information. This is why I haven't seen anything from American Muckrakers PAC since Madison Cawthorn. So this whole, Lauren Boebert exposed. And then it didn't happen and we all just kind of forgot about it. Yeah. So, okay. Now, here's the thing, right? So, this guy, his troubles, to me, in my opinion, is self-inflicted. You should have done a little bit better. Self-inflicted. Now, that said, I don't think there's a case that she had defamed him, so I don't know if there's any reason for this case to go forward. But again, they're going to get their day in court. Now, the closest thing, however, is when Boebert had filed a restraining order against Wheeler. So now, in that order, which was first approved, then rejected, then taken back by a different court, claimed that Wheeler had engaged in physical and verbal threats against Lauren Boebert. I don't know if that's the case. I don't have any evidence of that. I don't think there was any evidence of that presented as far as my knowledge is. And so, yes, the court ended up rejecting that order. And so now the thing is that could be defamatory if she didn't actually get threatened by him verbally or physically, and she tried to get this restraining order, and then would go out and say, oh my God, this guy who first lied about me, put out all these wrong statements, then threatened me. And she knew that that was not the case. Well, then that could be grounds for defamation. And so it really is. There's so many like weird twists and turns going on in this Boebert case. Now, let's add another wrinkle. Colorado has anti-SLAPP laws. Now, SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuits Against Public Participation. And that law, which went into effect in 2019, seeks to prevent attempts to silence free speech on a matter of public interest. So I think that could factor in this case. Or maybe it's why he decided to go to federal court in Colorado instead of state court, which maybe might not apply. I don't necessarily know. Interesting. But I do think that it could be part of Wheeler's way to try to prove that Boebert was going to silence him by first threatening to do a defamation suit against him for some of the stuff that he posted that turned out not to be true. And on that, of course, Wheeler can say, look, I used anonymous sources. Turns out those sources were lying to me. And so how am I to blame for getting bad sources? I believed them when they came to me. And so therefore it's not defamation. And then it might also explain why Lauren Boebert ended up not filing a defamation suit against him first. It's so weird. It's so weird. Look, now Wheeler said, how they would know what I was thinking will be the issue. Because everything that we published and put out was based upon what we were told, either in writing, in documents, or in recorded phone calls. Now, the other thing that factors in here is defamation is pretty tough to prove. Again, you have to knowingly and maliciously spread lies that you know are not true. If you got bad sources and you believe the source, and that source ended up being, someone who lied, well, that's different. Bad information, you didn't do your homework, you did sloppy journalism, that sucks. And by the way, there is a harm on that. But does it rise to the point of defamation? No, I don't think so. So now that said, another interesting wrinkle to this, kind of wrap it up, Muckraker's PAC was created with the intention of releasing dirt on candidates. So, look, they did so to try to influence public opinion in these elections, and so they present information. Now, if that information happens to be true, that's journalism. Because if you're releasing true information that happens to harm a campaign, well, I mean, that sucks for the campaign, but facts are facts, truth is truth. Journalism. But if they release information they know is false, fake news, and if they know it's false from the beginning and still spread it with bad intent, like the intent to, prevent somebody from being reelected, then again, that would be defamation. So I don't necessarily know if any of these sides, both Boebert and American Muckrakers PAC, has even a case to meet defamation. And look, Wheeler has admitted himself that that's not really the aim. Okay. In fact, his aim, as I mentioned, is political. He says he wants to get Boebert on the record regarding her involvement in January 6th. Here's that quote. What was her involvement in that? On the record under oath? Because that goes to the facts of our case. In order to undermine her credibility, we're going to ask her about all these other issues in her life that we've made allegations about. Interestingly enough, it might not even go to court. Wheeler's lawyers also told Newsline that he intends, before filing this lawsuit, to ask Boebert for a retraction of false statements that she had made about, the verbal threats and things about Wheeler, which would go a long way towards resolving the dispute. So look, this is this is wild. Could Boebert end up in court? Maybe. Could she end up in court if this does happen during, or I should say just in time for her to start campaigning? I don't know. If she did, and this PAC obviously is ostensibly against her, well, that would be interesting timing, wouldn't it? A little bit of a coincidence.